Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing really well. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about 5 different fragrances that I would buy again and 5 that I definitely wouldn't. And it was actually pretty easy to come up with this list because there's a whole bunch of fragrances that I would buy again for sure and a whole bunch that I regret. So I'll probably do additional versions of this as time goes, but for now let's go ahead and jump into this and check out some absolute duds and some studs. That was weird. Let's see, I'll just hop back and forth. So I'll do one that I wouldn't buy again and then one that I would. Cool? Cool. Let's start off with this one. This is Jesus Del Pozo Halloween Man Rock On. And I would not buy this again. Now to be clear, there are many fragrances out there way worse than this one. It smells completely competent. It's a potential compliment puller, it's versatile, it's not expensive at all. So those are all good things, right? So why is it that I wouldn't buy it again? Well, first off, I've not really worn it ever. And the main reason for that is because it smells a little bit similar to Mont Blanc Legend. It's an Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce type of fragrance. It doesn't smell exactly like that, but you can tell they were inspired by that. Yeah, the good old fragrance inspiration, where you're inspired by how much freaking money another company is making, and you would like some of that money. Isn't that the best kind of inspiration for art? I think it is. Now, this is not me dunking on Halloween Man, the line, as a line, because there are some awesome cheap fragrances in that line. It's just this one being so similar to Legend, only not as good as Legend, when Legend is itself not that expensive, makes it just pointless for me. Now, a fragrance I would buy again, this one. Sequoia from Comme des Garçons. Yeah, a bit of a change from Halloween Man to a Comme des Garçons, but whatever. Some people will dunk on this a little bit because this isn't technically the original release of Sequoia, so they'll be like, oh no, it's not as good now. It's a far cry from what it once was when it was first released. But I'll tell you, it still smells awesome. This is more of a boozy fragrance than a woody fragrance. I know it's named Sequoia, so you would think woods, but it's more like a whole bunch of alcohol in a good way, like sweet booziness, and then woods all around that, kind of enveloping it. Or maybe it's the other way around, booze enveloping woods. Whatever, there's some envelopment, there's some booze, there's some woods. Presentation's really simple, just a small little 50 ml bottle. And it's not too much to look at, you know, but the fragrance is great. That one's not too expensive, even at full retail, and you can actually get it for 10% off at Twisted Lily if you use the code GENTS10. GENTS10. The video is not sponsored or anything. It's just if you're gonna buy it, it's not super easy to find at discounters, at least best of my knowledge. So 10% off might be your best bet. That's why I bring it up. And of course, link in the description to all this stuff. So if you want to find it, you can find it through there. Cool. Let's go to one I don't want to buy again. This one's from Mancera, Wild Cherry. This was a blind buy, and this is when blind buys go wrong. I figured, you know, cherry is underutilized. It's gonna smell pretty cool. It's gonna smell unique. It's gonna give me a different facet of fruity sweetness in a Mancera fragrance. And then I got it in and sprayed it on, and I was like, cough syrup, cool. Now I know that Wild Cherry is a fragrance that maybe a lot of ladies would wear, and so you would say, hey man, that's not really an overly masculine Mancera, so why do you even get it? And I would say to that, because there are some Manceras that are unisex that work really well for me. That's why. That one, though, absolutely does not. It just was never a good buy. Performance is good, so if you want that lingering smell of death on you all day, it's gonna give it to you. But I prefer to stay away from that. So Wild Cherry for me, no. Now, a Mancera that I would buy again is this one, Vetiver Sensuel. Ooh, yeah, Sensual Vetiver, I'll take it. It's also got that cool magnetic cap. Cool. And the atomizer here is way better. Can I get a tester strip and show you? Yes, I can, and I will. Ooh, nice. That's a pressurized atomizer. That's good. That's high class. This is a Vetiver fragrance, surprise of the century, and it's a very wearable, fresh, brisk, uplifting, bright, office-friendly kind of Vetiver. You not get that earthiness here that's been scrubbed clean. It's got a little bit of woodiness to it, but not a huge amount. It's one of those Vetiver scents that you just grab, spray, and go, and it's a Vetiver fragrance that's a potential compliment puller as well. For some people, they'll bag on Vetiver scents and say, oh yeah, it's it's classy, gentlemanly, but it's not gonna pull me enough attention. I'm not gonna get enough compliments wearing that. As if compliments are the end all be all of the world. They're not. But if that's what you're after, Vetiver Sensuel can pull that off also. Some people might say it's sort of in the style, in the vein, in the family of like a Gray Vetiver by Tom Ford. But I would say that this one is perhaps even slightly cleaner than that one. And that's not a shot against Gray Vetiver either. That stuff rules. Now, a fragrance I would not buy again. This one, CK Free from Calvin Klein. It should be free. Am I right? Yes. Got him. Nailed it. That was good. Just playing, that was terrible. Horrible joke. Now, to be fair to this fragrance, it's from Calvin Klein. Calvin Klein, not really well known for having ultra expensive, luxurious fragrances. That's not their bag. Like I'm Austin Powers. And every teenager out there watching this video is like, who's Austin Powers? What is that? I just dated myself. Feels bad. Now, even with this being a Calvin Klein and being inexpensive, it smells inexpensive. And that's the problem. There are a lot of cheap fragrances out there that you can buy, especially discounters, that don't really smell all that cheap. So they give you a big bang for your buck. This one is cheap and it smells it. Fragrance itself is not really anything that's gonna push people away. It's inoffensive, it's boring, it's bland, and that's why I wouldn't buy it again. It's not offensive in the way it is put together, but it's offensive in how absolutely forgettable it is. Now, a fragrance that I would buy again that's inexpensive but smells really nice is this one, Lacoste L'Homme Intense. This is my favorite as of now in the Lacoste L'Homme line. It's not going to run you very much from discounters. It's got a great rhubarb note to it. It's got great versatility. It's got a nice compliment factor. Younger guys can pull it off. Older guys can pull it off. And the performance is good as well. There's a lot to love about it. It's a fantastic scent. It's housed in a bottle that looks like they put zero thought into it whatsoever. They just kind of got a rectangular bottle and slapped a crocodile on the front, but ultimately that doesn't matter. What's inside is what's important. And that's what they teach everybody in kindergarten, in elementary school. It's what's in here that matters. Don't judge a book by its cover. Although sometimes you really can judge a book by its cover, but still, in general, you shouldn't. So yeah, Lacoste L'Homme Intense. Woody, citrus, rhubarb. Smells great. Fragrance I wouldn't buy again. Love is Love, the flanker to Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue. Now, to be fair, my wife actually likes this a good amount. She digs it. It works for her. It just doesn't work for me. Now, I do have to give Dolce & Gabbana some credit here. They switched things up. Instead of just going a light blue flanker with citrus, which is what they do 9 times out of 10, here they went with apple and sort of a gelato note, like an ice creamy sort of fantasy note that they put in here. And it just never really worked off my skin. I didn't like the way it smelled from beginning to end. It's about that simple, actually. The new Light Blue Forever, I love it. Absolutely love it. But Love is Love was part of the 3 releases in a row that didn't really grab my attention. Italian Zest, and then Sun, and then this one. I would say of the 3, Sun is the best, and I'd say it's actually really not that close. Love is Love, not for me. Sorry, Dolce & Gabbana. Now, a fragrance I would buy again. This one is cheap. It is Lanvin Oxygene, and this is another one of those situations where you look at the bottle and you go, yeah, that bottle looks cheap. The glass to me just looks inexpensive. The cheap plastic top with the atomizer built in that's kind of noisy. Yeah, the whole thing screams bargain bin. I'll go ahead and waste a couple sprays for you. There. I was gonna do one and then I realized I said a couple. This one is divisive. Online, some people say it smells like an antiseptic. Like it smells like a cleaner, like alcohol. That's not good. When you say a fragrance is boozy, that type of alcohol, that's usually good. When you say it smells like actual rubbing alcohol, that's bad. I don't think it smells like antiseptic. I don't think it smells like cleaner. I think some people get maybe faked out. They think it's gonna smell like an ozonic fragrance maybe, because it's named Oxygen, or that it's going to be very aquatic, you know, a very fresh, maybe sea salty kind of thing. And it is not. It's green, it's woody, and it's aromatic. It's got cypress in there, a good amount of it. It's got juniper. Actually, it reminds me a little bit of a fragrance I have back here. I'll grab it really quickly. Yeah, it reminds me vaguely of Le Bleu DC by Issey Miyake. I'm just contrasting and comparing to see if I'm right. Yeah, a little bit. Maybe the actual scent itself is not ultra close. I'd say they're in the same family, the same style, the same general idea of scent. And this one is very inexpensive. Now, to be fair, I have used very little of this and I have had this for a long time. It's a fragrance that I got years ago. I sprayed it on and I think I myself was one of the people that was just like, nah, it doesn't really work for me. And I actually revisited the fragrance here recently. And when I did, I was shocked. It wasn't how I remembered. I remembered it being garbage, frankly. But this time I smelled it and I just thought to myself, my God, for $23, even under $20 some places, this is actually really good. Now I know Halloween rock on next to nothing, but it's different. This is a worse version of Legend, and this is a solid green, fresh fragrance that you don't really get all that often anymore. Now, the last fragrance I would not buy again, Bazaar from Christian Lacroix. Yeah, have you ever seen this thing? Maybe you've seen it going through different discounters, you know, trying to find a cheap thing to add to your cart, and you thought, maybe I'll buy that. Don't do it. As soon as I got this in, it was another one of those times where I looked at the presentation, looked at the bottle, looked at the cap, and thought, not a lot went into this. And I sprayed it on, and my suspicions were confirmed. Now, I'm gonna grab a scent really quickly. I've talked about this before, but this is the reason I bought this fragrance. Tumulte, or Tumult, by Christian Lacroix. This fragrance, I love. I've got 2 bottles of it. It's discontinued now. It's really expensive. At one point in time, it was a bargain bin scent. That was one of those bargain bin fragrances that was worth getting. Really good. So I loved this one. And I thought to myself, you know, Bazaar, really easy to find, really inexpensive. I'll take a flyer on it. I'll buy it. Maybe it's going to be a hidden gem. It's not. It's got a screechy alcohol note to it. It's one of those circumstances where you spray it on, and for the first maybe 30 seconds, it smells pretty much like rubbing alcohol, which is never a good sign. When you spray something on and it lingers for a long time, not good. If you spray the fragrance on and maybe 5 seconds in, it's a little alcoholish and then that dissipates, I can forgive that. All right, last fragrance I would buy again, Y Le Parfum, the new one by YSL. Now, this one is not going to reach the heights of the Eau de Parfum in terms of popularity. I can tell you that straight up, even though I like this one a little bit more than the Eau de Parfum, at least personally. Now, I've had a bunch of people smell them side by side, including my wife multiple times where I ambushed her, and that's completely normal. You know, you just wait, you know, wait until they're not expecting it. One fragrance here, come up behind them and just smell these. And every single time she chose the Eau de Parfum. So if you're looking for just straight up compliment puller over anything else, the Eau de Parfum is the one you want. Not that the Le Parfum version can't pull compliments, because it can. It's just the Eau de Parfum is better, at least in my experience so far. But the Le Parfum version, it's for me, a little more restrained, we'll say, than the Eau de Parfum. And sometimes I gravitate toward fragrances that do that keep a good amount of sweetness, keep that likability, that versatility, but maybe don't punch you in the face with it quite as much. You know, it's like showing up in a Porsche instead of a Ferrari. You're still accomplishing what you want to accomplish, you're just not being as loud about it. So Y Le Parfum, it keeps the versatility and the likability, but maybe adds a dash of class and mystery. Like, that's an ingredient that you have that you can put into a fragrance. The perfumer's sitting there, oh, what does this need? And he just grabs a bottle that says mystery, and he's like, a couple drops of this. So Y Le Parfum, that one, if I somehow dropped the bottle and broke it, I'd buy it again. All right, guys, hope you like this video. Just more of a kind of laid back style of thing going on here today. Let me know in the comments below, what is a fragrance that you have bought, well, obviously, that you wouldn't buy again? And what is one that you definitely would, should some unforeseen circumstance happen to the bottle? All right, that's doing it for me. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.